What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Jacob Daniel back at it again here at the Speed Kills Podcast. Now today we are going over those fantasy football players with upside. Now in the last picks of the draft, you may come across a player that has the potential to be really good. These are these players with upside. All right, let's get into it. All right, my first one on my list is Josh Doctson, former 2016 first-round pick of the Washington Redskins. This guy did not play a single game, a single down of football in the 2016 season because he got hurt. I think it was his Achilles that got injured, and he was out for the season. Now, this guy, he has the talent, he has the size. That's why he was a first-round pick, and he has the potential to be a real contributor for the Washington Redskins. And the Washington Redskins have a really powerful offense. Jamison Crowder, Jordan Reed, Terrell Pryor there now. And he's probably going to be the wide receiver 3 option in that offense. The upside with him is really good. His ADP is 1303, which basically means you're almost getting him for free, or he's coming out undrafted if you're in a 12-team league. In a really deep league, I think he's a really good pick. The upside, like I said, is really good. Has the size, has the speed. Came out of TCU, was a really good receiver there. I think he has the opportunity with Washington to be a good receiver. He's kind of one of those. I think he's just like Coleman, but I think he has the potential to be really good. All right, my second guy on this list is not really a late round guy. But it's Ameer Abdullah of the Detroit Lions. He played his rookie season in 2015, got hurt in 2016. I think he only played a couple games, didn't do much. But I believe he is a really good running back. He has the talent. He can catch the ball out of the backfield for sure. Definitely PPR value. His ADP is 509, so you're kind of spending premium for him. But I believe this guy's a very rare talent. He was great coming out of Nebraska in 2015, and I just think recency bias especially that's why he may be going in the 5th round. You might even get him in the 6th round or 7th round because people are hesitant to draft him. But definitely if you're in a PPR league, I would definitely draft him. I think he's the number one back there in Detroit, and a lot of people else think that, but there's also Zach Zenner and Theo Riddick. Theo Riddick takes away targets, definitely in a PPR setting, but Theo Riddick was fantasy relevant in PPR leagues last year, so I think Ameer Abdullah is going to be very fantasy relevant. He can run the ball. I like Ameer Abdullah. All right, my third guy is Quincy Enunwa. And Quincy Enunwa is kind of one of those players that it's the situation he's in. With the New York Jets, they don't really have a number one wide receiver. He basically is the number one wide receiver for the Jets. Kind of pushed into that role since Eric Decker leaving and all, but he's definitely very intriguing. I think he'll be very fantasy irrelevant. His ADP is 1008. I don't think he's actually being drafted that high, but if he is, he's still a number one wide receiver on an offense, even if the quarterbacks are terrible. I probably think even Josh McCown will probably start there, I think, but that's a QB battle in itself. He will definitely get targets, definitely get catches. I think this guy's a pick just because of his situation. They have almost no one else to throw to besides Robbie Anderson. I think Jalen Marshall's decent too there, but Quincy Enunwa, obviously the number one guy in New York. That's why you would draft him. He has very high upside, probably a wide receiver 2 upside when you're drafting wide receiver 3s. So that's why I think you should pick Quincy Enunwa. My next guy was drafted in 2015, but he hasn't amounted to the player that they've wanted to, and it's Devante Parker of the Miami Dolphins. This guy was drafted, in 2015. He hasn't amounted to much, but there's news coming out of Miami that he will be better this year. He definitely has the size, definitely has the speed. He was brought to the Miami Dolphins because of his speed. I think this guy can explode. That's why you're drafting him, for the upside. And I believe that this guy's upside is is way up there. He could be the number 2 right behind Jarvis Landry. I love this guy. I really think that he's good. You're picking him in the near, and he's 807, so mid 8th round. But I believe Devante Parker can be a great wide receiver. Definitely has the upside there. I like Devante Parker. All right, my next guy I've talked about in, I think, 2 previous videos. It's Donte Moncrief of the Indianapolis Colts. This guy, we already know, he caught 7 touchdowns last year before he got injured. Now that's a lot of touchdowns. He is a touchdown machine. Andrew Luck loves targeting him in the red zone, and that's value in itself because you're going to get the touchdowns for all the points, and he's the number 2 wide receiver on that offense behind T.Y. Hilton, and we know what T.Y. Hilton could do. If Moncrief stays healthy, then his upside's out of the roof. He could be high wide receiver 2, maybe even wide receiver 1. Donte Moncrief, I love this guy. Andrew Luck loves him in the red zone. His upside's wide receiver 1 upside. That's why you would pick him. His ADP is 608, so kind of mid to late 6th round. I think he's a good pick. He is definitely one with high upside, but it all depends on whether he stays healthy or not. If he stays healthy, he could be wide receiver 1 material. All right, my next one I mentioned previously in other videos too, and with Doctson. And his name's Corey Coleman, all right? And I've talked about him before. He's probably going to be the number 1 option with the Browns, regardless of quarterback. He had 1 game with 2 touchdowns. He only played 2 games last year, so I haven't really seen all of it. But the one game that he did, or one of the games that he did play in, it was a 2-touchdown game. He had a phenomenal game. Corey Coleman is a really good receiver. Came out of Baylor, was really good. I really like this guy. I really believe that he has wide receiver 2 upside, and his ADP is 1005. So you're kind of drafting wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 4s around there. So why not take him? I believe this guy's really good, and he could turn out really well in that Cleveland Browns offense. They're always going to have that negative game script, so they're going to have to pass. That's why I like Corey Coleman. All right, my next guy is Robert Woods of the Los Angeles Rams, former of the Buffalo Bills. Now this guy, it's another situation. He's the number 1 wide receiver in that Rams offense. They have a bunch of rookies coming in, Cooper Kupp, Josh Reynolds, and he is the veteran receiver in that offense. And the number 1 receiver in that offense will definitely get targets. We saw Kenny Britt do it last year in that same offense. So I believe Robert Woods takes over that role as the number 1 receiver. Definitely will get targets, yards, touchdowns. He is the number 1 wide receiver there, and that's why I like Robert Woods. All right, my next one is Laquan Treadwell, Minnesota Vikings. Same situation as Josh Dobson. 2016 first-round pick. Didn't play a single game last year. Has the size, has the speed, and he'd be a great complement to Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Rudolph, and I believe he's going essentially undrafted, so you're paying nothing for him. He's going to be probably your cut spot. If you cut him after week 1, you don't want to keep him. But I think he definitely has upside, probably wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 upside. He is a speedy receiver, came out of Ole Miss, was a great receiver. I really like Laquan Treadwell. All right, my next one is Malcolm Mitchell of the New England Patriots. We saw him have fantasy relevance last year with the Patriots as a rookie, and I think he just establishes that connection with Tom Brady even more this year. I really like Malcolm Mitchell. He just fits that offense in that scheme so well. Although he is probably going to lessen the targets with Brandon Cooks coming in, but I still think Malcolm Mitchell will be fantasy relevant. That's why you draft him for upside. All right, my last one is Jamal Williams, Green Bay Packers. He was their 3rd or 4th round pick, 5th round pick. Don't take my word on that. But with Ty Montgomery and the running back situation in question, I think Jamal Williams is a perfect guy to pick just because of the upside. He could take over that running back 1 in that offense, and they like to pass, which he'll definitely be a PPR value for sure if you're drafting in a PPR league. But he could also take over that starting running back role. They drafted running backs. They need depth. He's definitely going to be that running back too in that offense, so he will get snaps, will get touches. I like him. He could take over the role. He has high upside. Could take over that running back one hold. That's why I like Jamal Williams. That's about it today, guys. Thanks for watching. Thank you. If you made it to this point, don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Jacob Daniel. Peace.